Get in touch today. We're snuggling tonight.
It only lets you do vertical on these things, apparently, I found out.
You can only do vertical?
If you're doing like the streaming with two people, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Oh, it'd be cool though. He could be wide too. We could just be on top. Bottom.
Yeah, it won't let you do that.
I need to change that.
Then we'd all just be like sideways.
I know, right? It'd be funny. Should we wait a minute? Let people sign on? Sometimes they do that.
Let's see.
How's your day?
Wonderful. Very, very cool. Never mind. I was asking a question about weather, and I'm like, nah, never mind. Because
Yeah.
of location.
It got cold here.
Yeah. I think today it was like wind chill was like -14 here, and I think either tomorrow or the next day it's supposed to be -25 wind chill. But I mean, once you hit like 25 degrees, it's like it's all kind of just the same. It's like it doesn't really actually get much colder. It's just like this is cold.
Cold is cold. So I'm from Connecticut originally.
Okay.
And when my alarm goes off, it's my Alexa. And she thinks I'm still in Connecticut. And I keep it that way to feel more connected to my daughter who's still up there. So every morning it just keeps getting colder and colder. Like the other day it was 3, then it was 1. This morning, -1. And I'm like, you poor thing. And everyone down here is complaining it's so cold. And I'm like, not -1. I got this.
It's so relative because like I lived in Texas for a while. I lived in South Florida for a while, and I mean it's like it was such a different experience to go outside and like be at the beach on Christmas. You know, it's like that was insane. And then you go from that, and then my second winter in Texas is when they got the freeze, and to me it was like it wasn't a big deal. There was only like an inch or 2 inches of snow. And being from Ohio, I was like, oh, no big deal. And like, I went to go out, and we actually had a bunch of friends staying with us because the weather was so bad. Like, we had friends that were living at a tiny house, one that was living like on a RV bus, and so they came and stayed with us. And everyone else's power kept going out, and all these people are like, "Don't you dare go out! You can't go out!" I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, act like it's the apocalypse. But then I got out and I realized it's because like there's no setup. There's not snow shovels. There's not salt.
They're
There's
not
literally
equipped.
nothing. Everything was shut down.
I got stuck in Texas years and years and years ago, coming from Connecticut, going to Colorado. We left an ice storm, followed a blizzard. Took off on packed powder, landed on packed powder, never saw pavement the whole time I'm there. We go back to come home, and we're in Texas, and they canceled our flight. There was no precipitation. It was just cold. And they're like, nope, you're staying overnight. Like, we can't fly because they're just not equipped.
Yeah.
It's wild.
That's so crazy.
And I'm from the cold, so I'm like, I don't get this. But they don't know how to de-ice the planes and all that stuff.
It's wild.
Yeah, it is wild. I have family in Texas, and they have like snow right now. They were like shoveling it today.
Yeah.
I was like, that sucks for you.
It sucks.
All right. We were waiting for people to get on. They got on, so we can get started. I'm Corey.
I'm Amy.
Welcome back to Seriously, Sir. And today we have Grant Dziak with us. We're going to be asking him some questions. So, Grant, can you tell some of the people like what you do, like why we brought you on, all that before we get started?
Yeah. Well, you want me to tell some?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, I'm like, God, where do I start? So okay, well, how about this? How about you tell me what was it, a post or something that stuck out to you? Which one was it?
So we have an Instagram for our YouTube as well, where we share like our funny moments and stuff. But on the story of our Instagram, if I see either funny dating quotes or inspirational dating quotes, I will share those. And one of them was like how to be a grounded man, which we are going to ask you about that today as well. But that's what stuck out. And then you thanked me for sharing it. And then I looked at your page, and then that's when you and I started talking, and I asked you if I could interview you.
That's what I thought was funny is I had sent it to her. She had posted it.
Yeah.
And then you like, to me, I just see the words, and then like there was a guy behind there, whatever. I'm not thinking it's you. Like people just make it,
Yeah.
whatever. So then when I saw your name and you're like, thank you, I'm like, who is this? And I clicked. I'm like, oh, that's you. Okay. And then it like kind of all came full circle.
Yeah.
And she was like, hey.
Cool.
So
Well,
that's how that started. It was just
that that
name
helps.
stuck out.
Yeah.
That helps. All right. So just so I can put it in like context. So I've been coaching for about 13 years now, and I've been doing it in all different kind of capacities. I started out in like strictly fitness coaching, and then it kind of evolved into like a little bit of business mixed in with it. And then it was like it quickly turned into like life, I guess you could say life coaching. And this was back before like coaching was what it is now. And I just I knew when I was training people, and I've done this my whole life, is I always felt like I understood what was going on with people. I had a very like strong, big, abusive. My father was like this big alcoholic, and my mom is like a total saint. So I grew up with my mom, and I was raised by my mom's side of the family. But I was one of my only siblings that never lived with my dad, and so what happened was is I would visit him. So I'd experience like, if you want to call it trauma, the pain, the getting beat, but also like not being able to protect like my stepmom and my sisters and things like that in that situation. So my my mom's side of the family, like they always shaped it for me. They framed it for me without ever really speaking negatively about him. So it gave me this power to like kind of walk in both worlds and understand like the pain of it, but also have it shaped for me. And it like, you know, I wanted his love, so I was still like attached to that side of my life. But I was also like this. I don't know. I attribute it all to like my grandparents, and then my mom, my uncle, my aunt, because they were all raised by my grandparents. It was just like
Okay.
such strong values, and it was like understanding everybody in every walk of life, and never like judging anybody for anything. When you remove judgment, you also remove judgment of yourself. And because of all that put together, I always felt like I was very in tune with like my intuition, and I could
Okay.
always hear what people were saying, and I could speak to women, I could speak to men, and I didn't feel like there was really a barrier there. I didn't feel like, I see the way guys interact with women now, and I'm just like, what's wrong with you? Like, what's happening? And
It's
and
that seriously, sir.
but it's always been so interesting because of the experience of um, not feeling like I was able to necessarily like protect my sisters or my stepmom and stuff like that. Um, I had this really innate feeling in me that I always wanted to protect women, and not in like this, oh, so noble. It was definitely was like filling an internal void, like a trauma response from when I was young, obviously. But I've always been so much more interested in like ensuring that a woman feels safe with me as opposed to just trying to get laid. And
Okay.
because of that, like because I never wanted to be my dad. Like I never wanted to be seen like that. So put that all together, and it's allowed me to connect with women, understand men, and connect with men, help guide women. I think there's a massive lack of true masculinity in the world anymore, and it's
Agreed.
been but it's been a real interesting experience for me over the last few years to really step back and understand myself from a whole different point of view of the way. And I'm not saying this in any kind of braggadocious way or like being like self-absorbed, but the way women see me, it's like I provide them with something, even in a conversation. Or I spent 2 years traveling the country, and I got to guide hundreds of people through ice baths, and that quick connection of a woman feeling safe with a man, it unlocks so many things within them. And I was like, oh my god, like, and I wasn't seeing it through like, oh, look at me. I was seeing it through like, oh my god, this is like the missing piece for so
Yeah.
many people. There was a big missing piece, and since I feel like I can speak to both genders pretty easily, um, it's like women need it too. Like, you hear so much. Everything out there right now is about like men need to be this and men need to be this. At the end of the day, it's like, well, then women need to look at themselves like a lottery winner. If you win the lottery, but you have not changed your mindset, you may win millions of dollars and then you are bankrupt within a year or 2 years because you literally cannot hold it. You don't have a mindset that can sustain that. So that's where I like to kind of like teeter on that line,
Hmm.
because I also understand it. Like I'm a white straight man. Women like the number one thing in society right now that people like to look at and be like, you don't get to have an opinion about anything. But I don't even think it's my opinion. I feel like I'm translating for both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So put that all together, and I help. So what I help women with is I help women be able to feel comfortable getting into their feminine energy and understanding how to utilize their masculine that they live in all the time, helping men access their feminine energy through the strength of their masculine energy, and then kind of like is both of them as the complete whole. So and I've really started emphasizing that messaging so much more over the last 6 7 months. So it was a good thing and coincidence that you guys saw it.
So honestly, everything you just said, especially the tail end, is what drew us to you.
Yeah.
Because when people hear that we're doing this podcast and we're very new to it and we're learning as we go, they expect us to be bashing men, you know, and not being kind. We're very kind, we're very open. We're more or less sharing what we learn
Yeah,
about
just our
ourselves
experiences and like what we learned from
through
them.
these interactions and how we're gonna heal, how we're gonna be better. Like I'm an uber independent woman, and over the last maybe like 4 years, 5 years, I've been doing the work on myself to tap into my feminine energy and let go of all the things that have been done to me that have made me this hyper independent woman. And we were saying how like we love that women have independence, but if we want a man to be a man, we need to learn how to allow a man to be a man. So
Yeah.
we say the men do this, but women need to do the work as well. So I think that's what I loved personally about your messages that we've been reading through, and
Yeah.
Ari agrees.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
appreciate you
Awesome.
very,
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, that was biggest draw there.
All right. Well, we have some questions for you. And if
Hit me.
anyone's on viewing, please drop questions in the comments. Like we would love to answer yours as well for sure. So Amy, go for
So
it.
we're gonna start with you went over 10 behaviors that grounded men embody. You say these behaviors are what make a man truly safe to be with. Can you go over some of those behaviors with us? 10 is being broad. If you want to narrow it down, pick
Mhm.
1, 2, 5, 10. It's up to you.
Well, I think that I would say the number one that encompasses all of them is the ability to regulate before you react. Men and women, because so if we think about it through like energy, through like masculine, feminine energy, instead of calling it energy, because people make it pretty easily resistance to that because people are like, oh, it's woo woo. Because like my messaging is actually kind of uncomfortable for people because it's truth. It's like it extracts truth. Like I don't really have a bias in it. Like I don't have any desire to make anyone feel bad, but I do have the desire for people to like hear their own truth. And that's what I feel like I hear from people. So if we think about it, your masculine energy isn't just like this idea of like, I want to be the man. It's, like you said that, I think Amy, you said that, figuring out, navigating through what has put me in, like, what have I experienced throughout my life that put me into this like hyper masculine state, you know?
Mhm.
So it's something, a threat, some sort of attack, something that happened to you that made you say, I have to protect myself. That's a threat. And so it activated your nervous system and you went into survival mode.
Mhm.
And when you're in survival mode, you're in your logical brain, you're masculine, and you're critical thinking. So you are literally looking and thinking at every possible threat that's out there. But it's also men. Men don't know how to show up by and large in the world today. And so men are always on edge because it's like men try to be masculine. They try to, but it's performative if it hasn't been embodied yet. And it's immediately shut down. It's like
Mhm.
you try to step up, you try to hold the door, and someone's like, I can do it myself. You try to pay, it's like, oh, you think I need to do this, but then at the same time, the messaging is so mixed all the time.
Yeah.
It's like he should pay and treat me to this and whatever, and show that you can provide, and at the same time, don't step on my toes. It's like,
Mhm.
so like what do you want? So when I think of like what it means for a man to be safe, for a woman to be a partner with, relationship, date, even like friendships, is one that is so grounded in himself that it doesn't matter what your response is. Not because a female's opinion doesn't matter, but because if your opinion, what you like, what you prefer, goes against that, if me being my version of a that says this probably isn't right, because I'm going to stand in that so true. The problem is that when men waver back and forth all the time, and it's because they haven't regulated. Most like I can't believe that we're not taught how to regulate in school. Like the very
Yeah.
first thing,
Amen.
like
Yeah.
even just to take a breath, just to relax, calm your body down a little bit so that you don't go into this hyper responsive mode. Everyone thinks it's so good because we think it's like this aggressive thing, but like that's not like masculine. That's not healthy. That's not safe,
Yeah.
because uh, men have this tendency to think that. I think another one I had on there was about not just regulating your nervous system, but also regulating your emotions because emotions stay with us. And there's all this messaging out there about control your emotions. And I agree with that, but it just doesn't go far enough. Because when you say control your emotions, so many people interpret that as suppress your emotions.
Right.
And it's like that. No, no, no. Like your emotions get locked. It'll get locked into your muscle, your fascia, and then what do guys do? They go, "Oh, the gym's my therapy." And
Yeah.
it's like, so your muscles are tightened because it's trying to protect you. And then you tear muscles, you end up with injuries. And then you can't go to the gym. So you literally then have this thing that you consider to be your therapy that you actually don't even have access to. Now you feel even worse about yourself. So it becomes this
Yeah.
whole kind of like downward spiral. So I think the number one thing for men, period, is in terms of making them safe is their ability to regulate instead of just simply reacting because we become so reactive. And when we're reactive, we're reacting to what we perceive as a threat. And if we think it's a threat, we're in our masculine, we're in our protective, our survival. And to me, that's like putting on a pair of beer goggles and it completely distorts what you experience in front of you. So, and the way it shows up typically in like relationship is you experience something in a previous, and this is for men or women, you experience something in your previous relationship, you don't truly heal it. You don't process the emotion from that. And then you come into the next one, and let's say you were cheated on. So you're cheated on, and then you go into your next relationship, and they're working late one night. So it becomes, you start going down all these rabbit holes, and you don't know how to
Yeah.
regulate yourself. And it's like, oh, they're cheating on me, they're doing this. And even though you're consciously trying to convince yourself, and this is what creates the anger and the resentment, is that you start having a battle between your brain and your heart. And it's this logical of that's not what's happening. I don't think that's what's happening. That's not what he or she does. But your subconscious, your long-term memory, it has that emotion locked into it. It's the
Mhm.
pattern of in the programming of it. So it's going, no, this is exactly what's happening. You've done this before. Now you have to be in your mind. You have to consider the threat. Otherwise, you're going to look like a fool to the
Right.
point where they get home and you're angry at them. So, and it's like one misunderstanding, cool. Three misunderstandings, okay, that's irritating. Week after week after week after month after year, eventually you get to the point where that other person falls out of love with you. They start resenting you, and then what do? They end up finding love elsewhere. They cheat, and you go, "Yep, look at that. It reconfirms my belief about what happens." Not ever realizing what your part was in it.
It's like my ex we literally just did an episode on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just got like fed up and I was like, okay, I can't. Like this is like 4 times. Like I'm done. Like, peace out, friend.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because you
So
start to put like when you're put in that position so many times, you almost start to put a wall up too, because you're like, yeah, I feel unsafe. Like I feel like I'm gonna have to walk away. So let me start to prepare for that and detach from this person. So when like if it happens again, I'm able to do that without even thinking twice about
well, and like once you're already in that space of thinking that, it's already over.
it. Yeah.
It's just like a matter of
Yeah.
time. Like you're just kind of like trying to hang on to what feels familiar, because the thing is like your brain is always primed to move away from pain before it is to move towards pleasure. So
Hmm.
that's why we'll stay in something so much longer until we're literally pushed so far over the edge. Because instead of like we could go like if you actually looked at it and you'd split it down the middle, you'd say this isn't healthy for me and this isn't good for me and it's not going anywhere. Um, Look at everything else I could have out here. There's endless possibilities out here, and not just men, but like, where is it holding me back personally from my growth,
Yeah.
my body, my business, my relationships, my health, internal health, my mental, physical, emotional, psychological health, and it's like all that. It's like a whole gold mine over here, but we'll be like, "Ah, I'm focused more on not losing someone before I am gaining what I could actually want."
Yeah.
Not only that, though, you're bringing me to a conversation I had today, actually, and then honing in on this whole regulation thing and learn to regulate yourself. Because I've shared this with you. One of the quotes I read recently that I loved is our brain or our psyche is more drawn to a familiar hell before an unfamiliar heaven. Because even though it might feel uncomfortable, if that's what you're used to, it's comfortable. And it's
Mhm.
really hard. And I think that's where I'm zoning in on you saying regulation, because then that's right in the middle. You regulate so then this can feel comfortable. The unfamiliarity can become your comfort.
Yeah.
So that's
So
something that's been huge in my brain lately.
that's like one of my favorite sayings, that your nervous system will always choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. And it's I always use the example of, like, if I told you I'd give you $50,000 if for the next 30 days you would brush your teeth with the opposite hand, you'd logically be like, oh yeah, that makes total sense, and like what a huge upside that is. If you don't change anything, the next day you think, oh, it's time to brush my teeth. At that point, you reach for it, you grab it, you start brushing your teeth, and you go, oh shit, you switch. The next day, you go up, you grab it with the same hand again, you start brushing your teeth, and you go, oh, shit. And you keep forgetting about it. And it's because your body knows how to do it better than your brain does. You're not even contemplating it anymore. So,
Mhm.
so unless you take that cup that's holding your toothbrush or whatever, and let's say you move it somewhere else, anywhere else, move it up to the left side, so that your body takes over and it goes. And this also factors into the thought processes. So like that your body doing it better than your brain does is, you don't think about the stimulus anymore. You don't think I'm triggered. You don't think I'm angry. You don't think I have anxiety. You don't think any of these things anymore. Your body just releases the chemicals on a natural pattern and schedule. So, but what happens is, if you can create a pattern interrupt, you go to reach, so you go, I'm going to brush my teeth. You go to reach for that toothbrush. Your body goes to do what it does and goes, wait, where is it? And that's the break. And you go, oh, it's up here. Wait, why is it up here? Oh, right. I wanted to do it, brush it with my left hand. Now, obviously, it's like a very quick thought process that you have.
Yeah.
All you need is that tiny gap. You need to change up what your pattern, your programming is always doing.
So
Because as soon as you,
basically, like breaking your baseline.
yeah, well, it's like it's breaking that pattern of what you do. So because most of us, up to 95% of what we think and what we do in a day is the same thing we did the day before. It's
Mhm.
it's your subconscious thoughts, and almost all of that is negative, because you're always hyper fixated and focused on the threats. Because it's just like when they say, like, when you go skiing through the woods, to focus on the path that you want to be on, focus on the snow, don't focus on the trees. Because
Mhm.
what does everyone do? We think if we can see the trees, we're not going to hit them. But where your attention goes, your energy flows. So I'm looking at it, and my
And you
body
go there.
follows my head, and boom, you end up hitting a tree. But it's what we
Yeah.
do in our life. We focus on all the things that we perceive as being a threat, because we think if we can see them, they're not going to get to us, to the point where we're picturing the threat before it even happens. Anxiety, that's all it is. Anxiety is just fear of the unknown of the future. So,
Mhm.
and your body and your brain are so subjective, they do not know the difference between thinking a thought, like creating a scenario in your head, and actually experiencing it. So that's why, like, think of it like watching a horror movie, and you're sitting there and you're so deep into it, all of a sudden you like jump at it the same way. You're not in the movie. It's not happening to you. You don't know the difference, though. You're so entrenched in it. Your body thinks it's experiencing it that way. They've done research studies with people with like piano. They split it up. I think it was like, I don't know, either, let's say, a couple hundred here, a couple hundred here. This group actually practiced on a physical piano every day for like 8 weeks. This group auditorially heard it through like headphones in a dark room, kind of like meditating, experiencing it. Brought them together at the end of, I think it was like 8 or 10 weeks. And the group that was not even touching a piano played a physical piano better than the group that had been playing it the entire time.
Wow.
And it's like what extreme sports athletes do too. They play the stunts out in their head multiple times before they try it for the first time, because your body and brain are getting like the muscle memory of it all together. So if that's possible, then think about what's happening when you're sitting there and you're replaying arguments with your ex, or arguments with your significant other, or you're in traffic on your way to work on a Thursday morning, freaking the fuck out about what your boss is going to say and do. Yeah, that hasn't happened yet. You walk in the office, and the way you're behaving based on that, they're reacting to you, not what you actually create in your mind. You end up creating your own. It's like the whole manifest destiny. Like,
Yeah.
you create it to happen that way.
Yeah. For sure. And before we move on to the next question, if you could give viewers like two of your top ways to regulate if they're feeling anxious or angry or something like that, like what are two things like you do that you recommend are easy to like bring yourself back down?
Yeah. First thing would be to realize that, as invalidating as this can feel, and gaslighting as it can feel, your emotion is only real to you. Like,
Mhm.
it's only real to you, but it is very, very real to you. Um, So if you're willing to step outside of that and quit fighting for it and quit defending and explaining why you have that feeling, that's the first step. You have to say, like, I don't care if this is what I feel. I don't want to feel this way anymore. And it's so ironic though, because like you'll tell people or you'll say, you crave this, you want this. They're like, no, I don't. It's heartbreak. I wake up and I can't think straight every day. And it's like you literally want this. You're addicted to the chemical of it, and you don't even realize
Mhm.
it. Like stress hormone is one of the most addictive chemicals there is. Period. And it's insane. So it's cortisol, adrenaline just coursing through you. But you do it enough, and we're not even talking trauma bonding yet.
Mhm.
So the first thing is to be like, okay, this is what I feel, and I am experiencing this, but I do have the power to change this. And it's not going to feel like $1 million right away. It's You're going to feel like a baby deer on ice. Like it's not making any sense to you at all. You're going to be like, really? I'm breathing and I'm relaxing my belly, and that's what it is. So there's two aspects to it, and the easiest way to think about it is anytime you're getting like intrusive thoughts, bad emotions, this is not to not feel those. This isn't to like dissociate from those emotions. It's to be able to feel those emotions without those emotions having control over your behavior.
Mm.
So, or to take yourself to a different space of your focus. So, like, say you and a significant other get in a same fight pattern every day or every week, whatever it is, and you spot the moment that it starts to happen. If you can say something like, "Ah, I know what she's going to say when I get home." If you can say, "I know what she's going to say," okay, then you know this is going to happen. Odds are it's happened multiple times. So
Mhm.
you be the one to create the pattern interrupt, change it. If when you change it for you, you change it for both of you. In order to do that, you can't let yourself get activated though. So the way to regulate, that's what regulation is. It's keeping yourself from activating, or once you are activated, to bring yourself back to baseline. The easiest way to think about it is your breath. The number one thing is your breath all the
Mhm.
time. Because what happens when you start going into fight or flight, we start short, shallow chest breathing. This little, we're doing this. We'll start closing our front of our body up. We kind
Mhm.
of like we bring our shoulders up. Think about if you were walking down a dark alley at night and someone was walking towards you. You wouldn't open your body up. You wouldn't open your body
Right.
up and like smile. You wouldn't breathe consciously in through your nose, fill your belly up nice and big, exhale through your mouth nice and long. You'd be like, what the fuck am I doing? You'd be kind of closing yourself off. But think about what we do all day long. We on our phone, we drive, we're on our keyboards, we're sitting there, we're doing this, we're closed up, you know? Like not calling you out, but right now, like even the way you're both like
Look at me
everything
like scrunched
right
on the camera.
but these are the postures we hold all the time and we never think about it.
Yeah.
So it's one, it's your physiology, so the way you're holding your body. So think your shoulders relax, jaw relax, chest open, not closed down, belly relax so you can push your belly out, and then your breath. Inhale through your nose, fill the belly up nice and big, exhale nice and long through your mouth. And literally, emotions happen on 90-second cycles. So you start feeling that emotion, start breathing. And it's going to take you that full 90 seconds to 2 minutes, but choose it.
Yeah.
Just try it because it's going to feel like shooting a BB gun at a freight train at first. You go, this is so stupid. This is not going to do anything. You just keep doing it and you focus on the breath because one of the craziest things is to expand into your belly, even to hold your belly out when you inhale, it requires so much of your attention because none of us do it. We all keep
Yeah.
these tight abs, like tight, skinny, small stomach. We suck in all the time. We breathe into our ribs. So it's very difficult for people to, so it requires your attention. Your brain can only really focus on one thing at a time. So if my brain is focused and my attention is focusing on expanding my belly while I'm also inhaling, it can't focus on all those intrusive thoughts. You're not feeding that emotion. So if you can quit feeding that emotion for about 90 seconds, that emotion will pass. So it's the way you're holding your body, open your body up, be big, take up space, and breathe, like just consciously breathe.
Yeah. I teach hot yoga and I
Mhm.
practice hot yoga. And when we put people in shavasana in between the poses, we tell them to do that because it helps to bring your heart rate down. It helps
Yes.
to bring your breathing pattern down. It helps to regulate your nervous system. Belly breathing like will calm your nervous system quicker than like anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is we have it with us all the time. We breathe. I don't know. I figured it out the other day. I looked it up. It's like something like 700, around 700 million times. You've taken an average of 700 million breaths by the time you're, I think it was like 35 or something. I
Well,
was like, think of how many times you breathe in a day. thousands of times in a day. And how many of those times is intentional? Like how many of those like the only way we truly die is lack of oxygen to the brain. Yeah, you get shot, you have a heart attack, but eventually becomes because you stop inhaling and oxygen quits getting to your brain. So if
Mhm.
oxygen's the one thing that keeps us alive and our body's just doing it all the time, on top of us all bitching about our body all the time. All of us hate our body. We're always angry. Like my love handles, my fat ass, my cellulite, my hair. We all have body image. Every single one of us on some level have body image issues
Yeah.
because we don't see ourselves. Like some of my best friends have been some of the, I mean, literally the top bodybuilders in the world. And when I've talked to them, like one of them I asked one time, I was like, dude, when you were up there competing in the Olympia, like you were literally one of the top 10 physiques in the entire world, literally like one in a billion almost. How amazing was that? Even if you got last place and he just kind of looked at me and he's like, I was on suicide watch. And I was like, what? He's like,
Seriously?
yeah, because it's what he anchored all of his energy into. That was his entire identity, literally to get up on a stage to have literally judges judge him on his worth and his value, what he had associated to. He said like he would get all kinds of lawsuits and penalties against him because he would have all these contracts with like supplement companies for photo shoots and all these things right around the show, and like he couldn't do it. He's like, I was over 300 pounds, below 5% body fat. I was insecure to take my shirt off. And it's like, how crazy is that? Like the people that we
Yeah.
would be like, oh, that's what we want to be. Like if I look like that, that would solve all of my problems. And it's like not at
Mhm.
all, because you'll never fill internal voids with external achievements, attainments, a body, business, more money, more cars. Like you get that shit and it's empty within minutes because you're trying, what you're seeking for it to fill within you is something only you can.
Yeah, for sure. I
I always
totally agree
said
with
that
that.
I wish we could see ourselves through someone else's eyes for just 5 minutes, and I think we'd be a lot kinder to ourselves. We see something so different, and
Yeah.
it's wild if you talk to somebody else and
Yeah.
hear what they have to say. Like we're hairstylists, and like we have people in the mirror daily, and it's crazy what you hear them point
Yeah.
out, and like you would never see it if they didn't say it. But everyone's got their
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah,
Focus on that
totally.
for sure.
Totally. Well, it's because our physical body and everything external is a representation of what we feel like we're projecting on from the inside, but it's hollow. It's so hollow, because
Mhm.
but if you think about it, at a very young age, we start outsourcing all of our emotions, like love, trust, acceptance, validation, all these things. It's like think of permission alone. It's like ask our parents, can I stay out late? Then it's like a teacher, can I go to the bathroom? Then it's a coach, can I have a water break? A professor, can I have an extension on my midterm? A boss, can I have next week off work? We're always asking everything outside of us, but we never realize about us giving ourselves permission. Like we don't give
Yeah.
ourselves permission. We always have trust issues with the world. Like I need to trust you. Well, you don't need to worry about trusting anyone else. You need to trust your damn self. The
Yeah.
reason you are so focused on I don't trust anyone else is because you are not going to make the right choices for yourself because you've abandoned yourself every other time. And the moment you start doing that for yourself, you start gaining that trust within yourself. You stop worrying about the rest of the world. The rest of the world is just, it's like, in a very kind of cocky way, it's like you become the commodity. Like I know what I bring to the table. And because of that, like not saying like everyone should kiss my ass. I'm saying I know my worth. I own my value now. That feels really good. I don't need to indirectly get you to say something. And that's what, and especially in relationships, feel like that's 90% of what the conversations are. It's like we're fishing for affirmations or confirmation of feelings from the other person. Like, we get out of an argument and we make a statement that's actually a question. We're always like, I love you. And it's like you're actually saying, "Are we okay? Is everything fine?" It's not a statement. We're not like proclaiming shit. We're like, "Hey, tell me everything's okay and that you still love me and that we're okay." And so much of what we do, it's like we approach them as statements, but everything's a question. Am I enough in this
Yeah.
world? Am I good enough? Am I allowed to do this? Am I allowed to be me?
Yeah, for sure. And then you touched on like piggybacking off of this, you touched on your page about bare minimum for a gentleman as well as for a grounded woman in 2026.
Yeah.
Um, what are those for each gender and what do they mean to you like personally, and if you were to like translate them into more like layman terms, like how would you do that for somebody?
Um, so the interesting thing is, and I mean, it was funny. It was really interesting to me because like th- those are those are both like two of the I've never had posts go like viral before.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, I mean, not in that way. I mean, I think that one got almost like 1 million views on it, and like, I mean,
Wow.
well over 1,000 comments and stuff. And that's not about the vanity metrics. It's about how amazing it was to get that much insight. I felt like I did a psyop. Like I got so much insight from men and women. Well, to a
Mhm.
degree, it was almost all women that showed up for the men's one, and
Sure.
it was but what it was is I feel like that one articulated saying the bare minimum to be a man. It was a conundrum of what it was, because I'm not saying this is what you have to do. I'm saying, man, if you're essentially not even doing this, like that's why you're not getting shit. That's why you're not showing up the way you want to at all. And I would say third of women that responded to that were like, my God, this is amazing. Like, this would be the best thing ever. I'm dying to please, if you find a man like this, please send him my way. And then, like, a third of them are like, this doesn't exist. Like, this isn't real. Like, men like this aren't out there. And to all those, I responded with, yeah, like, they are. They're just not as loud as the other ones. Like,
Mhm.
like men who actually embody that, they don't, it's not, it, if they were to acknowledge it, it would be the equivalent of you giving $1 to a homeless person by having to put it on your Instagram. It's like, hey, I
Right.
got I got the door for you. And it's like they don't care. It's just who they are and what they do. Um, but the reality is both of those posts are completely relevant to each other. It's just I tailored them kind of speaking to one and the
Yeah.
other. Um, Really, if you wanted to summarize them all together, it's the way you show up. It's showing up as who you are and what you want to be. It's for, a lot of men that responded to the one about being a gentleman. It was all their comments were based around like, oh, well, all I hear is act like a doormat and get all walked on, and then women just leave you and take advantage of you. And I'm like, bro, this is nothing to do with a female's response to you. This isn't only with women. That to be a gentleman is, and I understand why so many people have it in that context. Again, uh, to me, your character and behavior is a proclamation. It's not a question. It's not I behave this way. What do I get from you? It's I'm this way regardless of what your response is. I don't give a shit how you if you like it, you don't like. This is me. This is who I am, and it's the character that I have, and it's the way I show up in the world. And bless my grandma for beating that into me when I was like 3 years old. It's like not opening the car door for her. I remember I got in the car and like got smacked upside the head, and I got out and I opened the door for her, and I got back in the car. I get smacked again. She's like, a man's supposed to walk around the back of a car after he opens the door because he does not need to be in the line of sight. Like, and I love it because it's like, it's like, it's just like, it's so old school. And I love it, and but the way I tailored both of those for the men, it was very actionable things. And for the women, it was very much about self ownership. The things about being a grounded woman are all about the characteristics of owning yourself. And kind of like what
Mhm.
I said in the beginning of this is women want a man to be Mr. Wonderful. Majority of women can't sustain that or hold that. And the guys who actually are that way aren't going to give them the time of day because they have their own boundaries. And the same for women who've done this work on themselves. They have boundaries, very hard boundaries, because they don't like they don't care. They're not trying to perform. They're not trying to impress anybody.
Sorry, I had to let the Uber in.
Oh, you're
I
good. You're good.
was like, I forgot they were calling and I had to buzz them in. Groceries. Continue.
But yeah, so like for men, like the bare minimum of showing up is it's all about protection and your sense of ownership of a situation and personal responsibility.
Mhm.
I think the number one slide on that or tip was that got the most attention was don't sit with your like as a man, don't sit with your back to the door. And, all these women chiming in. Well, my dad taught me to never sit with my back to the door. And he's like, why? Because that now you can see a potential threat coming in.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if you're with a man, who do you think in that situation and scenario is going to handle a threat, a physical threat better?
The
Really a
man.
man.
Yeah.
And if you don't feel like that man would be able to do that, then that's probably a sign to you about something.
Right.
Mhm.
I
You
totally
know,
agree.
so it's things like that, like your ability to protect and claim your frame. And the interesting thing is if you look at all these individually, these are all things that each gender need to do within themselves because we
Mhm.
each have masculine, feminine energy within each of us. So they're just characteristics. It's not, so many people think masculine means man and feminine means woman. And they're just energies within you. And then for the
Mhm.
women, it was all about the ability to regulate yourself instead of projection. Women are by nature much more um, emotional. But because you have much more access to your emotions. And the thing is, women hear that and they want to deny it because, like, we've all kind of been conditioned growing up that emotions make you weak. And it's like ignoring your emotions is what makes you weak. Like when you become emotionally reactive, like a dude that's never handled his emotion in his life, that those are the guys at the bar that someone accidentally bumps into your foot and you turn around and they think it's necessary to knock you out
Mhm.
because you immediately get raged over you because you feel disrespected or something. Like it's the most. I ran bars and restaurants for like 10 years in Columbus. I'm like, I saw it a lot. I'm just like, what? Like, where do these ideas come from?
Well, and
So,
I think like women, when you say like emotional, like most women automatically think like, oh, that means I cry all the time. And like that's
mm,
not what that means. That just means that like you feel more of your emotions than like men do. Like,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
And
yeah.
or
So,
admit it more. Men
right,
have
and
emotions, they don't want to admit it.
right.
Mhm.
There's
Well,
that
and,
too.
and it's the most ridiculous thing. It's like I mean, I literally had one of my client calls this morning. It was a woman who um, she's a single mom and she's got a lot going on in her life. She has a couple huge business opportunities on the table. She's also a nurse and she has two children and she's exhausted. She's also a competitive bodybuilder. And so
Oh my gosh.
she's like burning the wick at every end. She works graveyard
Yeah.
shifts because that's what allows her to be around when her children are awake. But but when do you sleep ever? And
Yeah.
I got on and I like, how you doing? And she's like, I'm fine. And I'm like, woman, you are literally I mean,
That sounds like me.
you're one sneeze away from like having the biggest emotional breakdown. And she started just having an emotional breakdown. And
Because you
it's
made
like,
her feel safe.
well, but it's also like you can't deny truth. Like
Yeah.
you literally, you physically can't deny, you consciously can, but your body knows, like your body holds the wisdom of all of it. All of your emotion is stored in your body. That's how you can read somebody. You can
Mhm.
literally see the way their body, like they literally like their body like wants to almost crawl outside of itself because it's like, oh my God, get me out of this right now.
Yeah.
Like, and I can just see it in people. It's like you can read it so easily. And and but that's been her story for so long. I'm fine. I'm fine. And it's like, no, you feel like you have to be fine because you are so afraid of, and this is what both for both genders is it's so afraid to crack into your emotion because it feels like it might be opening Pandora's box and you have no idea how much is behind it. Like,
Mhm.
so it's like I'm just gonna take this little crack out, but really it's like the other side's a dam and it all is just gonna like come flying at you and you're gonna be depressed and crazy for however long. And it's like, dude, that shit's running your life right now.
Mhm.
It's like the hidden things that run our lives.
Yeah, for sure.
I get that 100%. Survival mode, baby. Okay, moving on. How do you personally handle conflict?
Um I'm trying to think. Like I don't feel like I experience a lot of conflict. Um I've never been in a fight. Um, I've I played football at Ohio State where you got to do a lot of hitting and there's a lot of like cheap shit that happens there. But like it's not like actual fight, like getting into an actual fist fight. I've been punched one time that was just by a guy that was extremely drunk, and I was having to be out partying that night, and they were in the bar that I was in charge of, and he could have given me a 10-minute heads up, and I still wouldn't have been able to move. And but outside of that, like I've never been in a fight. Like I've never had any desire to. I did boxing a couple times, and a buddy that I boxed with, he was a Golden Gloves boxer, and he was like just holding like the bags for me. He's like, "Don't ever hit anybody." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Why?" And then he's like, "I don't even want to teach you how to actually or use your body to punch." He's like, That's dangerous." And I just when I was running bars, there was a guy, I've always been like this. And I think it is that part of not wanting to be my dad so much growing up. Like I've always been able to contain that anger, that rage so much anytime I feel it, and to the point where I'm at now, and I'm not trying to act like I'm like holier than thou and that I never experience a bad day or get triggered by anything, but I've become so efficient at just like regulating myself that I mean all the way down to you're driving in your car and you're playing out that story that you're gonna man they say this shit to me and you're like playing out the scenarios in your head you're experiencing it. I've become so good at catching myself in those moments now
Mhm,
that it's like I don't want that shit in my body anymore. So
mhm.
as far as conflict goes, I mean I do have the advantage of I'm a little bit of a bigger person, like it's not like a nice way of being like I'm really fat. I used to I used to be over 300 pounds, but yeah, no, it's like it definitely helps. I think having a physical stature that I don't think a lot of people out of willingly want to try to, but outside of that, I've always been so good at talking to people.
Mhm,
I think it's when you expect the worst in someone else, or your our nervous systems are always interacting. So if I'm expecting the worst out of you, you actually feel that, and it raises your
mhm.
nervous system, and
Yeah.
you start getting more triggered. So to me, it's this thing that anytime I feel like I'm in any kind of conflict, I literally just like relax myself so much. And to me, it's like because what happens is someone else is upset, angry, whatever, they go up here. And if you're not aware of it, you go up here with them, and then they go higher, you go higher, and you guys
Yeah.
just feed off of each other. But if you stay grounded, you end up pulling them back down to you. They have no other option
Mhm.
except for to come down there. I think that's how I've approached it throughout my life. Like I've never had any desire to threaten anybody or get in anybody's face, or the only time I've ever gotten like that about anything is if violence towards a woman, like if a woman is in a position or of something like that, that's always been a big trigger for me because of growing up. And then or like someone that can't defend themselves or take care of themselves, like someone who's small, much smaller or outnumbered, anything like that.
Mhm.
But so I would say the way I handle conflict is I literally talk about it, because it's like at the end of the day, like, have you ever seen anyone just punch someone in the face and be like, man, that solved everything? Like,
No.
no, so someone usually breaks their hand,
Yeah.
the other person breaks their nose, and it's
Right.
like there's two people walking around with broken bones, and it's like we'll get back to this later because then you just create more resentment and anger the whole time. And like 4 weeks go by, his nose is healed, your fist is healed, see each other again. What are you going to do? Do it again? Nothing gets resolved. We carry
Right.
that anger around with us all the time.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that I think you and I had this conversation, even like in a relationship. Like I don't like to argue
Me
at
either.
all, whether it's with my partner, my father, my kid, whatever. Like when you calm down, when I'm not anxious, so we're gonna talk about it because if we fight, we're going in this circle, we're escalating, and we still have to have that talk later, right? So
Right.
let's just skip that and let's calm down and let's talk it out. I think we just talked about that
Yeah.
actually. So same sort of idea.
Yeah,
That was a very
totally.
masculine answer.
Well, and the and the reality is also how much easier is that conversation to have later if you're not having to be like, hey, I'm sorry about all this shit I
That's what
said,
I'm
and
saying. You don't
I'm
have to
sorry
get
for
over that hump.
Yeah,
You
you
can always
don't
yeah
end
say
up
that.
saying the things that like you would regret later or anything like that because you allow both parties to calm down first and then like have like an adult discussion.
yeah totally.
So that's how you handle it with your ladies too, I assume.
What's
Yeah.
that?
And that's how you handle it with your ladies too. Keep it calm. Because I'm
Um
sure if you keep it calm, they're gonna escalate a little bit. No.
I don't well I don't have any ladies.
You have
I haven't
had ladies.
I haven't been in a relationship. Well, I dated one girl right after I got out of, or right after I went through divorce, and that that pretty much broke my heart pretty quickly. Like after that is when I realized I'd been in relationships since I was 14, like pretty much
Mm.
nonstop, and it wasn't like a dependency thing. Um, it was very organic the way. I mean, if I look back at it, I'm like, how did all that always happen? I mean, like I think between the time I was 14 and last year at 38, I was like, I think maybe I was like by myself single a total of like 6 months, maybe
Wow.
altogether.
Yeah.
And 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 then when I thought about it, and after I got out of that, I'm doing the thing where I'm like, why does this shit always happen to me? Like, why? I'm a good guy. Like, I love people. I take care of people. Blah blah. And I just stopped. And I'm like, I'm literally the common denominator of every bad experience I've ever had, every heartbreak I've ever experienced. I've been in it, and so I'm like, what am I doing? And
Yeah.
I was like, I need to take a dose of my own medicine that I give everybody else. I'm like, I need to spend some time by myself.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. I think one of the big things is like people find themselves in the same pattern of relationships all the time, and they think it's so different in the beginning, and it's like if you actually think about it though, your last relationship started here. Over time, however long, a year, 5 months, 2 weeks, 6 years, whatever, it dwindled down to this by the end. You're arguing, yelling, you're angry at each other because you have so much resentment from things you either never expressed, didn't say, loss, disappointment of expectations and hope of where things were going. Everyone's hurt, angry, sad, mad, whatever.
Yeah.
So you get out of that relationship, meet the next person. They're the exact opposite of what you remember down here, the most recent experience. But you
Right.
forget that this is on the exact same frequency that the last one started at. But to you, the complete opposite. But this is actually just your frequency of the world you live in right now. And the goal is to get outside of that world onto a different frequency for what is within you. What do you want? Like, who are you? Like, who am I? Like, the things that I used to be attracted to in women, like, I don't even at all anymore
Yeah,
because
I
I've,
totally get that. I met someone like around Halloween and I noticed patterns of like my ex from 2 years ago, which is last boyfriend I had. And my mom was asking me how it was going, and I was like, yeah, I think I might be done. And she was like, why? And I was like, I'm like kind of reminiscent. Like, seems like it's going the same way that one went. And it's like not even I was like, we're not even like a thing yet. Like, we're literally just going on dates, and I can already see this pattern. And
yeah.
she was like, well, I'm glad you like recognize that before you even became his girlfriend. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, well, I didn't want to do that because I recognized that. And I didn't know if it was just like a blip moment or if it was like a pattern. And like, it's definitely a pattern.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
like, so I need to be done.
and where I think most people, like, that's awesome that you had that awareness around it. Like, that's huge. And I think where most people get that part wrong, if they do even do see that, they go, "Ugh, it's them. It's the other person. It's what they're doing." And it's like, no, it's like how you put yourself in that exact same situation again. And that's how I had to look at myself. I
Yeah.
was like, what am I doing? What am I like? Why am I doing this? Like, why do I keep attracting in that? I typically always attracted in a very masculine, like, a woman very much in her masculine. Because think about what that is when you really break it down. I grew up, part of my thing was I need a woman to feel safe with me. I need to know that women feel safe in my presence, and that
Hmm.
I'm to confirm that I'm not my dad. So if I why would I be attracted to a woman who's completely healed and good and thriving on her own? No, because a woman who's stuck in her masculine is stuck in her masculine because she's in survival mode because of something negative or bad that has happened in her life. So
Hmm.
naturally, that's what I was attracted to, not even realizing it.
Yeah.
So it's and then trying to be the thing that made them not see it that way anymore. But until they would do that work within themselves, like it didn't matter what I would do, you know. So on my
Yeah.
on my part, as much as I was like, "Ah, I'm being such a good guy," it was selfish.
Mhm.
I was actually trying to fulfill something within myself, not even realizing it.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. And then you brought up your divorce. Like, what was that like, and what coping mechanisms like did you use? Because I'm sure that was an emotional roller coaster, like on its own. Like, no, like I don't feel like any divorce is not an emotional roller coaster from what I've seen, especially through our clients. So like, yeah, what things did you use to like get through that and like stay calm and sane and not feel like you were like falling apart?
Like a lot of drugs and alcohol. Just kidding. Um, no, man, it was that was a very, very interesting time in my life because there was multiple factors to it. It had been pretty gnarly for quite a while. Like
Mm,
my nervous system was completely rocked. I'm sure hers was too. So when that ended, what I realized is, I learned a lot of things. I realized the trauma bonding was so real, like so real, and
oh,
what it actually was. I was like, why do I have this? Like, what is this feeling? And it was, and a lot of people think, and I used to think this is what trauma bonding was I thought it was like you bonded, you connected over both having similar trauma and you connected over your pain. And
mhm,
but it's chemical. It's the oxy or the adrenaline and the cortisol just firing from the anger and the defensive protectiveness, and then you guys coming back together in a just love and making up and all the oxytocin, and it's that dynamic back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
uh-huh.
And ours was on a daily cycle.
Oh,
It was very, very intense.
yeah, that's
And
hard.
the most interesting thing is to experience what I did every day. Essentially, I'm going to say just about every day for 5 years. And somehow, and I'm not even exaggerating, and like when I say this, I'm like, was that like a superpower? Like, how did I do that? That I can count on one hand the amount of days I woke up and was like, I just don't want to do this anymore. This is, or like anything outside of like, let's go. Because our days always ended with the oxytocin. It always ended with
Uh-huh.
the making up. And I would always be like, God, I'm so fucking hopeful. Like, and I have no idea. So it was bizarre that when we actually separated and that stimulus, that intense stimulus wasn't there anymore, that's when I woke up and I was like, I can't breathe. Like, I can't do this. It was, man. It was very difficult. But doing everything that I do, it required me to literally go back into all of my work that I do with clients and everyone else. And I had to
Mhm.
do it for myself. I literally
Wow.
had to break back out everything that I've ever done with anyone else, all the lessons I learned. And I have this like kind of theory that we always think that we keep hitting the same problems in our lives, and we're like, God,
Mhm.
why haven't I overcame it yet? And it's like we look at it like it's like a circle with like all these dots, like a bullpen, and we're just stuck in it. We keep bouncing off these dots that are like our problems. But if you shift your perspective, and you'll realize you were looking down at the top of a corkscrew. So you saw the circle, but if you look at it from the side, it spirals up the entire way. And those
Uh-huh.
dots you saw were the top of the pillars of all your deepest insecurities and pain points and traumas that go up all the way through this. So every time you go around for a revolution, you are hitting that same relative problem because you will always have the same relative deep insecurities in your life: body image, self worth, confidence, whatever. I mean, you plug in whatever, those are some of the main ones that are consistent for everybody. But so it's like, I feel good. Everything's great. I'm confident now. And then you circle around and you come back to a confidence issue in the future. And you're like, what the fuck? I thought I dealt with this. How does I have this again? But what you're not
Yeah.
realizing is you're handling it on a different level. And so it's like you're always going to experience it. And the goal isn't to never experience your problems. The goal is to close down the refraction period of how long
Mhm.
that affects you and like what it says to you. And the higher you go, those revolutions get bigger and bigger. So it's longer time period in between experiencing those pain points and those triggers in your life. Um,
Mhm.
and it's like, I always think about it like nobody's ever played like a Nintendo game. I'm like, does anybody still know Nintendo? I'm like, how old are you guys?
I
So it's like,
do.
so nobody's ever gotten to like play Mario Brothers and got
Oh,
to
the
like
best.
nobody beat the first castle, went to the
Yeah.
second level, and they're like, oh God, this again? We go to the
Yeah.
second level. We're like, yeah, we're progressing. Like
Right.
we don't get to the end of that level, and we're like, "Oh, I thought I beat a castle already. Why do I have to beat another castle?
Right.
It's like we could be, and somewhere in that level, you gained whatever Yoshi, Feather, the new thing
Yeah.
that allows you to tackle and take on and defeat this castle. That if you were in the first level, you wouldn't have been able to do it. but it's
Mhm.
relative to you because you are living at the exact edge of your life all the time. So to you, it doesn't ever seem like you're evolving or progressing at all, not realizing like I'm actually so much further along. I'm handling the same shit, but it's on a whole different level.
Yeah.
So for
Yeah.
me, it was realizing it was very humbling to be in that position again and be like, I don't want to do anything. Like I don't want to. But then I also realized so many different things that got locked into my system throughout, our relationship. And so I had to rewire a lot of stuff, and I took a lot of time with that. But the number one thing is emotion is just energy in motion. And if you change
Mhm.
your motion, you can change your emotion. So I think May, June, July, August, and September, each of those months, I walked over like 500,000 steps.
Wow.
I literally like all I did is walk all day long. And I like because I couldn't just sit. And it's not because I was trying to avoid anything. I was trying to move my body because I mean I already knew what the emotion was. I'd be walking down the highway like crying. I didn't care. Like I'd be like, it's fine. It was like moving it through your body. Another big thing is dancing. Like dancing is a huge thing. Like I have all my clients. First thing they do when they wake up in the morning is dance. Very first thing you have
I've heard that. We just like watched a video on that
yeah.
you should like wake up and do that because it changes your whole mood for the day.
So it's not that alone is not going to change your mood. And this is the part. This is the part. So think of if all of your energy is taken up by like negative thoughts and emotions. When you
Mhm.
wake up in the morning, I think Gary Breck is the one who said this. He's talking about how like nobody's ever woken up laughing before because joy, laughter, excitement, love, fulfillment, these are like high frequency emotions. It requires
Yeah.
your conscious energy to go into them. Um, but it doesn't require anything out of you to wake up. And what do? We roll over, we grab our cell phone, we immediately check in with social media and we start comparing ourselves immediately, self deprecating, answering text messages, phone calls, checking everything, communicating to the rest of the world. In those first 20 minutes, when your brain is operating in theta, you're a sponge and you're programming yourself for the day and you're programming yourself to say, I have to serve the rest of the world before I take care of myself. And then you play out those behaviors the rest of the day. And
Mhm.
theta is what your brain's operating in the first from conception until you're about 7, 8 years old. That's
Mhm.
why you just absorb everything. But you also experience that the first 20 to 30 minutes of every morning.
Oh.
So when you wake up and you're panicked because you overslept, you're like, oh shit, and you're running around. And that's what your first 20 minutes of your day is. All day long, you feel anxious all day long.
Mhm.
When you wake up and you again, coaches do this all the time. Anybody who has any kind of like service-based business, they wake up and I got to check my phone for messages from clients. It's not why you're doing it. You tell yourself that's why you're doing it, but the reality is you're trying to find your own homeostasis, your baseline of your knowledge of the world. That's what makes you feel connected now. And but you do that and you're serving the rest of the world. So you spend all day, I can't give to myself. I can't do that thing for me that I wanted to do. And it's like, so we all give to everybody else. And it kind of becomes this unspoken expectation that they're going to give back to me. Like we give love, we love other people so hard so that they can love us back. The reality is that's an unspoken expectation, and unspoken expectations are just premeditated resentments. So
Mhm.
when you spend that first 20 minutes of the day pouring into yourself, giving to yourself, setting yourself up, like Abe Lincoln says it, that if I had 5 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend the first four sharpening my axe. Like you're the
Yeah.
tool. I'm like, you're a tool. But no, you're the tool that is literally gonna be slicing through everything throughout your day. So you better do it with a sharp blade. And we all focus on speed of implementation because everyone's like, speed and fast, I gotta get to it now. If I want to do it, I gotta work hard. As opposed to like, let me work efficient and I can work hard efficiently.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Agreed. And pouring into
Cool.
yourself is important. That's another one of my favorite quotes. The best gift you can give to others is the work you do on yourself. And I think I'm going to add what you just said into that, and what you pour into yourself
Mhm.
is will spread out to other people instead of trying to take care of everything for
Mhm.
everyone.
100%. Totally. I feel like because when you do that and when you change your frequency, to me, that your frequency is like your bat signal that you put up in the sky. And it's like what makes you magnetic. And like we're all magnetic all the time, but we're just magnetizing like typically the wrong things because we're not
Mhm.
fulfilling ourselves. So it becomes like this bastardized game of like telephone of like who's bringing what to the potluck. And it's like, so you're showing up to that relationship. I'm going to love you so hard so that you can love me back. But your language is speaking, I'm going to be the most dependable person for you so that you're the most dependable person for me. So you're looking for dependency out of me or being
Mhm.
dependable and reliable. I'm looking for love out of you. And we're just people. So we end up, you always get these relationships of people meshing that are speaking different languages and looking for different things, but they don't even know what that actually is. To them, it's just that's what everyone's looking for because
Mhm.
it's your experience. You assume that's what everyone feels. And like
Yeah.
your experience is literally only your experience. And people want to go, well, it's common sense. And it's like, no, it's not. Because what they're
Right.
thinking is common sense. What I think all the time is common sense to me. The way you see life is common sense to you. Like nobody has the same. I mean, yes, we can go, oh, that person fell down. That probably hurt. That's common sense. So it's kind of a universal thing.
Like
But I
that
think,
wasn't a good moment, clearly.
but I think we lack as a society, we majorly lack emotional intelligence and we lack communication ability. So we
Mhm.
really lack our ability to communicate our emotions and what we're
Yeah.
actually experiencing. And then layer on the receiving end, most people don't know how to receive someone expressing what they're experiencing without feeling like they're saying it's your fault.
Right.
So so
Yes.
then so then the person receiving it gets defensive instead of hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then as opposed to like what we're all like nobody realizes what we're all telling each other. We're going, yo, here's the roadmap to my heart, essentially. Like here's the roadmap to get to
Yeah.
me. And and the person saying that doesn't even realize that's what they're saying. They're just mad that it's not landing, you
But I
know?
think a lot of time too, it has to do with word choices. Like if you're choosing words that are gonna put someone on the defensive, like saying like I need to talk to you about something versus I'm confused about something. Can I ask you a question? Those are gonna come off two very different ways to people.
Well, consider this. You just said, I need to talk to you about something. What if I
Right.
said what if I said, hey, I really need to talk to you about. So what if it's not what you say, but it's how you say it?
Well, that's true
That's
too.
the
Yeah.
biggest,
And,
I
and
think. Tone is
it,
everything.
because think about it, what we're doing so often is we're already fighting in our head because we're so uncomfortable with what we're about to say that when we say it, we're not saying it, we're punching it out. It's like we're trying to attack the other person. We're like, back off of me because I'm already insecure about my perceived idea of what the way you're going to take this and what you're going to think of me is. You're not going to receive this. So I'm already angry because
Yeah.
your body's playing it out already. So when you can regulate, it allows you to be present. You're not thinking about those unperceived, like those unlived experiences already. Like it
Yeah.
hasn't even happened, but you're creating in your mind. So instead of going into it, like people go into the beginning of a conversation already at the end of the argument,
Oh, for
because they're
sure.
so on edge. And it's like because it's
Yeah.
what you're expecting them to be. And we feed off of each other. So I think it's the way we present things and the way we say it. Like, listen, consider like a British accent, for example. Dude, someone with a British accent can call you a stupid motherfucker, and I'd be like, thank you. Like that's the most beautiful. Like that's the most beautiful thing you've ever said. It's because like it sounds so good, but
Yeah.
like, but then like take like a hillbilly saying it is like you stupid motherfucker, and you're like, okay, that's offensive, you know.
Yeah.
So,
It's so
so
true.
it's the way we present things, I think, and the
Mhm.
way we present ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's I think showing up to conversation, relationship, whatever it is, when you show up in a grounded space, like that helps the other person as well. It's co-regulation
Mhm.
that can happen.
For sure.
Yep. Agreed. Wholeheartedly. Are we going on or
Yeah, we have three more.
three
But to
more?
wrap that up, the number one thing I did going through divorce during that time or any hard time is I moved my body.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I moved my body to keep myself regulated, and then because you can regulate, you can also feel it. Like I didn't want to sit there and cry all the time, but like
Yeah.
also it's not going to go anywhere. I'm sad. I was grieving, but it wasn't just that. It was also that we decided I think on a Thursday that we were going to separate, and the next day was that Friday was our 5-year anniversary,
Oh.
and then that following Monday, so 3 days later, my 16-year-old dog passed away, and
Hey.
And then she was gonna go back like where she's from for like a month. Just we were gonna take a little bit of time, and she took technically hers, our 14-year-old Boston Terrier with her. He had a seizure on the way, and he died. And it
Oh
was just
my
like it
gosh.
was just like everything all at once, and it was a lot. It was a lot of
That
I was
is a
agree.
lot.
It wasn't just grieving like the loss. It was grieving the loss of everything that I knew my life to be at that point.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so but that was the thing is, I think guys, especially around when it comes to like the idea of crying, like it's a week. Like I'm not talking about going out and just crying in front of people just for the sake of crying. I'm talking about processing your emotion on your own, letting it happen, because otherwise it just turns stagnant in your body. Like I said before, if you don't deal with it and work on it in your own time and master your own emotion with yourself, man, that shit's gonna seep out of you in the most inopportune time, and it's gonna be in public.
Mhm.
I had an experience one time, maybe like 5 years ago, where I started to deal with my emotions differently because I would notice like I'd feel my emotions, I'd have thoughts, and I'd get in these like looping patterns that aren't going to go anywhere, of just going over and over and over. And then I would find myself in the past, like just squashing that, like, okay, just stop thinking because you're not going anywhere with this, until one day I was like, we're going to have a little personal therapy session. We're going to allow ourselves to talk in this loop, but then we're going to add dialogue. And I started talking to myself. So I was able to think, I was able to feel, but I started talking to myself, like, be honest with yourself. Like, I had some aha moments in doing this. And so in that, like, motion, and also just taking control, grounding
Hmm.
myself, because emotions are hard. Like, no one wants to feel them. No one
Yeah.
wants to feel sad, but
It's
you have to
hard.
find your way through it, whichever way that is for you. And for me, that was super helpful. Like, I was, okay, we're not going to squash this, because then you don't deal. And I'm a
Right.
talker and I'm a thinker. I'll talk to myself and I will help myself through some stuff. But I thought that helped me anyway,
Yeah.
to allow myself and to work through hard times.
Well, I think it's like when people are like, I mean, there are some very unhappy people in this world, like people that are just very, very bitter and angry.
Oh, for sure.
And when I see that or I experience them, I'm like, I used to be like, what a piece of shit. And now I'm like, man, how much pain are you feeling? Like you're so
Yeah.
stuck, like you're just stuck because it's like, think of your emotions like a parking lot, and every parking spot is full. So you can't add more cars, you can't add more parking spaces, and you're not going to take away spaces, but you can change what they are. So
Mhm.
it's like if I'm trying to put a new emotion there and change what an emotion is, well, it's like I have to experience this emotion first, and that essentially backs that car out to allow the new car to pull in.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and that's all it is. It's shifting and it's alchemizing what those emotions are. So when we think we're being so tough and strong by not accessing our emotion because it's going to make us weak, all you're doing is you're delaying it, you're prolonging it, and you're stacking it on itself. And you're going to make it that much more difficult and rigid for you to ever process that. And that's always going to be locked in as that emotion that it currently is until you
Yeah.
experience it, feel it, because what you resist will always persist. So it's like feel it, process it, and it kind of frees that up to become whatever you want it to be. Like for me, a big thing for me was it was like hurt, pain, anger, and like that always shifts to gratitude because I realized that like literally that pain that I experienced, like pain is the greatest portal you'll ever experience. Why, the whole idea of like a revenge body, instead of thinking of it as a revenge body, think of it like, and that heartbreak was so painful, and it made me change who I am
Yeah.
because of it. It's like the pain that comes from other people, as much as we resent it, it's a gift.
Sure.
Oh, for sure. It helps you if you allow it to, it will help you grow in ways you never knew you could grow before.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. Are we going on?
Yep. Just go for it.
What?
Mhm.
So, okay, we were talking about your marriage here. To be married and divorced, are you currently looking for the same thing in love or something different? And how are you approaching dating now?
Well, I'm not looking for the same thing at all. Um, and that's definitely that's not, I'm not. It's not to like knock my ex-wife. Her and I are like we actually have a pretty cool friendship now, um, and because of that, it's like I'm very grateful for that. But I don't want to experience things that way because but again, not just putting it on her. I'm saying because of the last time I was in relationship, I was a completely different person,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so the way I'm approaching dating now is I'm literally dating myself. Like I'm spending so much time with myself. I'm giving that same love, attention, energy to myself that, within reason, like I'm not buying myself flowers every day or anything. But like a big thing that I encourage everyone to do is like take yourself on a date once a week, like a legitimate date. Like get ready. I'm not talking about just like order a pizza. I'm talking like get dressed, get ready, like whatever you would do as you were going on a date, like you were going to impress them, because what it actually does is it subliminally communicates to your system, like I'm worth it. Like I think
Nice.
I'm deserving. I'm worth it. We do it for other people because we're trying to impress other people. Dude, when's the last time you tried to impress yourself? When's the last time you try to impress yourself and raise your own bar, your own standard of yourself, and go like, I'm fucking proud of who I am. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like I'm a good time. Like I'm fun. And I don't mean like I mean because that's how you get to literally know yourself instead of sitting out being like, do they like me or what do they think of me right now? It's like, wouldn't you rather be able to sit back and be like just so present as to what's happening and what's going on, the actual conversation, instead of stressing the entire time?
Which I don't do that, but like you said, you don't buy yourself flowers. So my favorite flower is a sunflower,
Mhm.
and I love Trader Joe's. And so anytime they have sunflowers, like I do buy them for myself. I'm like, I don't need
Yeah.
someone to buy these for me. Like I'm gonna buy them because I love them in my house, and they're gonna make me like smile every time I walk in the door.
Yeah.
And I feel
That's
like I'm like
awesome.
worth buying myself flowers. Like I deserve
Totally.
flowers.
I go on lots of dates myself.
Yeah. Well, and it's whatever your thing is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're on the
Hey,
right track.
you didn't let me clarify. I don't buy myself flowers because my mom owns a flower shop, so I can just take them. If I want to. But it's like, but I mean, like, I love to cook, but historically, like, I'm not gonna spend like 3 hours making like a bomb ass meal just for myself to sit down and eat.
Oh my gosh, he's talking just like I do to you. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that for myself.
But now I do at least once a
Oh,
week.
you
Like,
do?
I don't.
oh yeah,
I
once a
do.
week
I
now.
just eat it for days.
Yeah, like now I'll just make like every now and then I'll just like at least once a week I'll do that too. I'll cook myself like bomb ass. I love to cook, so but it's like why would I wait till I'm back in a relationship to do that? Is this just because it's like uh, is this actually a quality of mine that I enjoy, or is it something I use to just impress people? And it's like when you realize that is like, well, if I'm trying to use it to impress other people, why don't I use it to impress myself? Like, why do I not deserve that shit? Like,
But
absolutely, I
what if
do.
you like I love cooking, but I love cooking for other people. So like I'll ask, she knows, like I'm like, come over, I'll cook you dinner. Like I'll do that for like friends since I'm like not dating anybody.
That's cool. Do you have a PO box anywhere around you that you can ship this stuff? Like, because you can go ahead and like, I was like, you're more than welcome to send it up this way. Um,
Yeah, so
yeah.
I'll invite people over like a couple of times a month, like just friends, and be like,
Mhm.
come over, like I'll make dinner. And it like gives me the opportunity to like do the thing I love and do it for other people
Yeah,
and
cool. Why, why,
spend
why,
quality time with them.
why don't you want to do it with yourself?
I mean, I know you're gonna say this is an excuse, and that's fine. I'll own it. Maybe it is. But I work a lot, so I'm kind of like your other client. Like I don't ever stop. You can ask her.
Mhm.
And I also work later. So by the time I get home and I like have done my workout and I shower, like the last thing I want to do is take hours to cook a meal because I'm so exhausted. I just want to go to bed. So I want something quicker and easy that I can just eat, go to bed, be done. And then my weekends, because I don't have a lot of time during the week, like I want to spend with my friends and the people I love. And so I'm not really home to cook because I'm like going out to dinners and stuff with
Okay, so all right.
them.
Uh, Scenario: when you call in a partner, when you are in a relationship again, do you want to be with someone who never does anything for you because they're like, I'm always working, I'm always busy, or that like,
Mm. I told you he was gonna tell me this is an excuse. No, so I say this to her all the time. Like you make time for the people you want to make time for, right? And so like when I'm with someone, like I definitely make
You're
time for
digging
them.
yourself in a bigger hole.
I know. I know I am.
You're doing
Spend time with yourself.
you're doing great because what you're saying you're okay. 'Cause I was like keep talking. It's just like, but it's like yeah, because so like literally what you're communicating to yourself then, if that's your belief, truly, I mean, it's not like a gotcha moment, but it's like, hey, like if your belief really is you make time for the people that are important to you, you're communicating to yourself that I'm not important to me.
I see you.
So it's like, but just imagine if you're operating at the level you are already,
Yeah.
imagine what it would happen and how high, much higher it could go if you started communicating. Because like if you start communicating that to yourself, like what are the standards that you would want in a relationship? So
Mhm.
if you wanna call in a partner, like, again, that bat signal, it's gotta be your frequency. It can't wait till you're in that relationship, because this is the thing that happens. You ever realize people always say this shit? Like, "I got into this relationship, and then all these people came out of the woodwork."
Oh, yeah, that happens to me all the time.
It's because you get into a relationship and you start operating on that new frequency, and that's the
Yeah.
frequency of and you're like, "Wait, where were all you people before?" And it's
Yeah.
because that's what you're doing because now you're giving it to someone. But imagine what would happen if you were giving that to yourself and you were actually still doing it all that. That is your frequency. And it's like, it's the difference between trying to sharpshoot, picture someone standing up in a canoe, like sharpshooting, trying to fish out in a lake. And it'd be like, you look ridiculous. And it's like, how much more fun would it be to like just kind of like sit back, drink a beer, and let fish jump into your boat?
Yeah. Well,
You
I
know?
think the thing is like it's not like I don't do stuff for myself. So like my favorite thing to do for myself is hot yoga. And
Mhm.
like I go to class 3 times a week. It's like non-negotiable. Like unless there's like a wedding or something like big, like I'm not missing that. And so like for me that is like pouring back into
You just
myself and
redeemed
showing
yourself.
myself self-love, but I guess if I had to choose that over cooking, like I would rather go do that.
Yeah, that's cool. Would it be weird for you to miss a yoga class? Like, would it feel like it'd feel weird because you do it so regularly?
Yeah, I feel like it helps me regulate my nervous system, especially dealing with clients all day and talking all day. Like doing that 3 times a week helps me like mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally like stay very grounded, stay very calm, stay very stable, like not be reactive to things. Where like cooking's not necessarily going to do that for me. It's going to be good food, but like it's not going to regulate me in the way that like my yoga does.
Oh, maybe not like one or the other, but at the point where the point is that to miss yoga would be the weird thing for you because it's such a part of your routine.
Yeah.
Like, and it's the way I talk about it's the way I talk about the gym. Like, I'm not disciplined because I go to the gym 5 days a week. I've been doing that for 28 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's more weird for me not to go. But you know, it requires
Right.
my discipline to not go. It requires me, that's where I have to actually tap into my discipline. Where I have to tap into my discipline is to, instead of going to the gym, maybe I go work on my mobility, which is going to amplify what I do in the gym. Because it's not just about regulating myself, it's about maybe I could also feel regulated and fulfilled if I was communicating to myself that I'm worth it, that I'm
Mhm.
deserving. You know, so it's all the different ways that you can approach it instead of thinking it's just like one or the other. It's I've kind of gotten to this point where it's like I always try to lean into the thing that feels the most uncomfortable, like whatever the behavior would be. Like for you to spend an hour or two cooking for yourself, making yourself like a bomb ass meal just for you, it's easy to approach it and be like, "Ah, it's kind of a waste of time." Like, you know, and I get that. I get that. And that's how I operated for a long time. And it's like, just try it sometime. Truly. Like try it
I actually
and
did it recently. I can't have dairy and I wanted to make vegan cheese and so like I did. You would ask her. I was like, I made homemade vegan mozzarella. I can taste it in 4 days. She the 4th day she's like, how was it? I was like, it was disgusting. I threw it all away.
You tried.
I tried though. I did try it. Every now and then I'll get like the itch and I'll do it. It's just I don't know. It doesn't happen often.
I do it once.
But I also really love egg sandwiches, so like I eat a lot of egg sandwiches for dinner.
I do
Like a
most of my
dip.
cooking one day for the week.
Yeah, but that's also because you have a day off, like a legit day off.
Sometimes.
My days off, I teach yoga, so I'm not
I,
home to do that.
I wish homeboy that said, "Are you gay?" was still on here because I'm imagining you probably said that when I was talking about emotions.
Maybe.
Oh, did you
Maybe.
miss it?
Yeah.
Well,
I wish.
with
I
that,
wish.
what's your favorite flower, sir?
My favorite
Your mom owns
flower.
a flower shop. What's your favorite flower? Flower
Honestly,
based stuff.
I like hydrangeas, but I like Lily of the Valley is a really cool one, and Bells of Ireland because those are like two of the cool ones that I remember from when I was a kid. Because my mom would always like teach me because we lived in an apartment above my mom's shop, so like I would help out anytime I could.
How fun.
Oh, that's so
I love
fun.
that.
Yeah,
Cool. So we have one last question for you, and then
cool.
we will close. What is something you're working on personally this year for 2026?
Mm. My ability to receive like abundance, money, financial um, compliments, um, reflections. Like I've always been someone who I love when people point out things to me that are like uh, we can call it criticism, but
Okay.
like kind of calling me up in it. I've always been about that, but um, when people give me compliments, I mean, this is a big thing. This is like most people have this problem because we all suck at receiving. Like everyone
Mhm.
like and as guys are really bad at it. Like I mean, go be any gym you go into, a dude will be like, "Oh man, you look great." And they go, "Oh, just trying to be like you, man." Like it's like the natural thing to say back because we suck at saying thank you. I'll
Yeah.
receive that and accepting it because if that's not our identity we currently have about ourselves, and it's like letting go of what you thought the identity was of you to start accepting it. Like how you said earlier is, I wish I could see myself through other people's eyes. And it's like
Hmm.
if you allowed yourself be receptive to what everyone else is saying to you and about you, it's very interesting. Because I on one hand, I think it's a double-edged sword because so many people are like, I don't care what anyone else says because we're always focused on thinking everyone's talking crap about us. But that's because you think that about yourself. We assume everyone's saying bad things about us. But like, if your people in your life will give you solid reflections of you, and and you have to ask them too. Like, don't be afraid to ask them. And I'm not saying ask for a compliment, but what give me an honest give me an honest rundown of what you think of me, and you have to want to hear what they have to say. To me, it's like you have to want to be have like I want my friends to tell me if I have food in my teeth.
Oh, me
Otherwise, like
too. Yes.
like how pissed are you when you get home and you're like, they let me act like this all day long.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like think about like your behaviors that we're
Hmm.
blind to. Be like, why didn't you tell me about this? Why didn't you bring this out like up to me? And that's uncomfortable for most people to do. So I tell people like the people in your circle, like literally ask them. So for me, it's being receptive and it's allowing myself to, and it's already been pretty amazing. Like the whole, financial is, I think, something like most of us struggle with to some degree in some capacity, and it's because we live in such a different time now. Like entrepreneur, like my mom was an entrepreneur before it was cool to be an entrepreneur, before there was social
Yes.
media. Like I was back when everyone's like, you're crazy, like you're not doing the 9 to 5 and you're not going this route with it, like you're crazy, like that's
Hmm.
unsafe and you're gonna fail. And you know but so like the things that are possible, the way people can make money now,
It's
and
crazy.
like I've had guilt. I've like had guilt because like to realize the amount of money I can make in my coaching business of sitting in this office with some nice cameras, a laptop, whatever, just your phone. It doesn't matter, and I can
Hmm.
connect with people anywhere in the world. Like I've literally felt, I've almost like felt shame about that based on knowing how hard like my mom and my uncle, my aunt work all the time, my grandparents, and that was a huge thing for me to overcome. And in the way of being like, oh, why don't I just show them what's possible instead?
Hmm.
So that was like a big shift for me.
So that was awesome. And my brain is still on the receiving part that brought me to a therapy session I had had a couple years ago. And he asked me, he was like, how do you feel when someone gives you a compliment? I said, well, I used to feel extremely uncomfortable. Like just, yeah, I couldn't take it. Then I went on to say, thank you. As how hard as that was, I would just say, Thank you. And he's like, where are you today? I said, and today I'm believing it. So there's like the different phases of receiving. And his response to that was, you're a step ahead of me. I'm still not there yet. But I didn't like that uncomfortability, and I was growing within myself. But like a literal thank you was so hard. I said, no, I'm gonna start looking at that. I'm gonna start believing what they're saying to me, and that was a form of growth for me in that
Well,
receiving.
that's
It's huge.
awesome. That's like huge. That is huge because it's like that, or think about Christmas, like a gift, like receiving a present in front of like people, like families sit around at Christmas time, open presents and stuff, and it's like most people are so uncomfortable, and like I know that I always used to be. I'm like, because I'd see other people like, oh my god, thank you, and I'd be like, I'm like, well, I feel like that's fucking performative, and 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 and, and I also don't want to just be like, thanks, and like toss it over my shoulder. So
Uh-huh.
it's like, thanks so much, like but it's because like we're so uncomfortable to say thanks because by saying thanks is like we feel like we're telling the world like I think I deserve this, and
Uh-huh.
most of us have a deep rooted belief that we're not deserving things. So one of the best ways to work around for this is to start saying, I'll receive that. Like, I'll receive that. Like, because thank you feels a little too intense for people at first. So, like, a bridge between where you are and thank you and then feeling it and believing it is start out by being like, I'll receive that. Because it's like, you're
Yeah.
literally, because it's like, how do you feel when you give someone a compliment and they kind of like brush it off? You're just kind of like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
And
that
then I
happened
realized,
to me like recently. And I like made a compliment and then he made a joke because he was like uncomfortable with it. And I was
yeah,
like, okay, now I don't know what to say. Right. Like
yeah.
it was like awkward.
But what you can do in those moments is give them the permission. Is like, you literally are just like, hey, you can receive that compliment. Like
Yeah.
it's okay because people don't hear that. Like they don't
Mm,
even have most people don't even have awareness around that. It's just
yes.
like it just runs. It's like this is the way I respond to these kinds of things. And
Yeah.
and most people make a joke out of it.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Oh, this is so great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you
Yeah.
guys.
We would love to have you back another time if you want
Sure.
to let us know.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, if anyone has any questions, drop comments. I will send you the link so that way if anyone wants to ask you anything, you can respond
Cool.
if you have time and want to.
Love to.
And yeah, we appreciate your time and
Yeah,
everyone.
it's a good time.
Yeah, it was great.
Awesome.
Everyone have a great week.
Thank you guys so
Bye.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Bye.